Before we dive in, let me share something personal with you. My friend Sarah turned 32 last month, and she was having this mini crisis about her age. She kept saying things like, "I'm not in my 20s anymore and men probably don't even notice me now." But here's what happened that completely changed her perspective. We went to this networking event together, and I watched as this incredibly successful businessman, we're talking tall, handsome, probably in his late 30s, kept finding excuses to talk to her. He'd bring her coffee, ask her opinion on different topics, and I could see he was genuinely captivated by her. When I pointed this out to Sarah later, she was shocked. She said, "But I'm older now, I have laugh lines, I'm not as carefree as I used to be." That's when it hit me. Sarah had no idea that those very things she was worried about were exactly what made her so attractive to this man. She had this depth, this wisdom, this confidence that she'd earned through experience. And that, my friend, is what we're talking about today. Because what society tells us about aging and attractiveness is often completely backwards from what men actually think. Ladies, can I tell you something that might completely change how you see yourself? Last week, I overheard a conversation at a coffee shop that absolutely blew my mind. A 35-year-old woman was telling her friend she felt invisible to men because she was getting older. But here's the thing, 3 different guys at that same coffee shop were stealing glances at her, and she had no idea. What she didn't know is that men notice very specific things about older women that younger women simply don't have yet. And honey, some of these things will shock you. So if you've ever wondered what really catches a man's eye when it comes to mature women, you need to stay with me, because I'm about to reveal 10 surprising things that will make you see your worth in a completely new light. Point 1. The way you handle stress shows your true character. The first thing men instantly notice about older women is how you handle pressure and stress. And this might surprise you, but it's not about being calm and collected all the time, it's about how you navigate through challenges with grace. I remember watching my neighbor Lisa, who's 38, dealing with a plumbing disaster in her home while hosting a dinner party. Instead of having a complete meltdown like I probably would have, she calmly called a plumber, moved the party to the backyard, and turned the whole thing into this fun, spontaneous outdoor gathering. The single dad who lived next door was watching this whole thing unfold, and I could see the admiration in his eyes. Men notice this because they've been through their own storms by this point in life. They recognize resilience when they see it. They can tell the difference between someone who crumbles under pressure and someone who's learned to dance in the rain. This isn't something you can fake or learn from a book, it's something that comes from actually living through difficult moments and coming out stronger. When a man sees an older woman handle a crisis with wisdom and composure, he's not just seeing someone who can deal with problems, he's seeing a potential partner who won't add drama to his life but will actually be a source of strength when things get tough. Point 2. Your selective attention and genuine interest. Here's something that will blow your mind. Men are absolutely drawn to how older women give their attention. Not the scattered, constantly distracted attention of someone trying to juggle a million things, but that focused, intentional attention that comes with knowing what truly matters. Think about it this way: when you were in your early 20s, you might have been checking your phone every 5 minutes, worried about what everyone was doing, trying to keep up with every social media trend. But now, you've learned to be present. When you're having a conversation with someone, you're actually there. I watched this play out perfectly at a friend's barbecue. There was this 29-year-old woman who was gorgeous, absolutely stunning. She was talking to this guy, but I noticed she kept glancing at her phone, looking around to see who else was there, kind of half listening to what he was saying. Then my friend Maria, who's 36, joined the conversation. The difference was immediate. Maria looked this man in the eyes when he spoke, asked follow-up questions, and gave him her complete attention for those few minutes they talked. Guess who he spent the rest of the evening trying to talk to? Maria. Because men crave that feeling of being truly seen and heard. They notice when a woman has learned to be genuinely present instead of just going through the motions. Point 3. The confidence that comes from knowing your own body. This one might make you uncomfortable, but I need you to hear it because it's so important. Men instantly notice the way older women move through the world in their own skin. Not the insecurity of trying to hide every imperfection, but the confidence that comes from accepting and owning who you are. I have a friend named Rebecca who's 34, and she told me something that stuck with me. She said, "I used to spend so much energy trying to hide my flaws that I forgot to celebrate what was beautiful about me." Now, she wears clothes that fit her body as it is today, not as it was 10 years ago or as she hopes it will be 10 pounds from now. Men notice this shift because it's magnetic. There's something incredibly attractive about a woman who's comfortable with herself. It's not about having a perfect body, it's about having the confidence that comes from self-acceptance. Men can sense when a woman is at war with her own reflection versus when she's made peace with it. This confidence shows up in how you walk, how you stand, how you take up space in a room. It's the difference between shrinking into yourself and standing tall with your shoulders back. Men are drawn to this energy because confidence is contagious. It makes them feel more confident too. Point 4. Your emotional intelligence and communication skills. Here's something men find incredibly attractive about older women: your ability to communicate what you actually need instead of expecting them to read your mind. This comes from years of learning that indirect communication just doesn't work in real relationships. I remember my friend Jessica telling me about a conversation she had with a guy she was dating. She said, "I need to tell you something that's bothering me, and I'd like to talk through it together." Then she calmly explained her feelings without attacking him or making him guess what was wrong. He later told her that conversation was the moment he knew she was different from other women he dated. Men notice this emotional maturity immediately. They've been through relationships where every conversation felt like walking through a minefield, where they were constantly trying to decode what someone really meant. When they meet an older woman who can express her needs clearly and handle conflict constructively, it's like a breath of fresh air. This isn't about being emotionless or suppressing your feelings. It's about having the emotional intelligence to process your emotions and communicate them in a way that actually solves problems instead of creating more drama. Men find this incredibly attractive because it promises a relationship where they can actually understand and meet your needs. Point 5. The stories written in your laugh lines. This is going to sound crazy, but men are absolutely fascinated by the stories your face tells. Those laugh lines around your eyes? They don't see aging, they see a woman who's actually lived and laughed and experienced joy. I was talking to my male friend David about this, and he said something beautiful. He told me, "When I look at a woman in her 30s or 40s, I can see her life in her face. Not in a bad way, in the most beautiful way. I can see that she's laughed until her stomach hurt, that she's cried tears of both sorrow and joy, that she's lived a full life." There's something incredibly attractive about someone who bears the marks of a life well lived. Men notice this because it tells them you're not afraid of experiencing life fully. You're not trying to stay frozen in time, you're allowing yourself to grow and change and be marked by your experiences. This is completely different from the unmarked face of someone who hasn't been through much yet. It's not about being old, it's about being seasoned. Like a fine wine that's developed complexity and depth over time. Men are drawn to this depth because it suggests you have stories to tell, wisdom to share, and a richness of experience they can learn from. Point 6. Your financial independence and life stability. Men instantly notice when an older woman has her life together financially and practically. Not because they want someone to take care of them, but because they're attracted to the security and stability that comes with someone who's built a life for herself. This hit me when my friend Carmen, who's 35, was telling me about a date she went on. The guy asked her about her apartment, and she mentioned that she just finished renovating her kitchen. She wasn't bragging, she was just sharing something she was proud of. Later, he told her how impressed he was that she owned her own place and had the skills and resources to improve it. Men notice this independence because it signals that you're with them by choice, not by necessity. You're not looking for someone to rescue you or complete you, you're looking for someone to share your already complete life with. This takes so much pressure off the relationship and makes it feel more like a partnership between equals. It's not about having a lot of money or owning expensive things. It's about the confidence and security that comes from knowing you can take care of yourself. Men find this incredibly attractive because it means any relationship with you will be based on genuine connection, not dependency. Point 7. the way you set boundaries without apologizing. This is huge, and most women don't realize how attractive this is to men. Older women have learned to say no without over-explaining or apologizing for having boundaries. Men notice this immediately, and it actually makes them respect you more. I watched this happen with my friend Taylor, who's 33. A guy she'd been on a few dates with asked her to change her plans last minute to accommodate something he wanted to do. Instead of scrambling to rearrange her life or feeling guilty for having other commitments, she simply said, "I can't make that work, but how about we plan something for next week instead?" No long explanation, no apology, no guilt. Just a clear boundary with an alternative solution. The guy later told her how much he respected that she valued her own time and commitments. He said it showed him she was someone who knew her worth. Men notice this because they've been in relationships where boundaries were either non-existent or came with hours of drama and explanation. When they meet a woman who can set limits calmly and confidently, it actually makes them feel safer. They know where they stand, and they know you won't resent them later for something you agreed to but didn't actually want to do. Point 8. Your genuine curiosity about their inner world. Here's something that absolutely captivates men about older women: the way you ask questions that go beyond the surface. You're not trying to figure out if they're dating material based on their job or car. You're actually curious about who they are as a person. My friend Rachel, who's 37, told me about a conversation she had with a man she just met. Instead of asking the typical "what do you do for work?" questions, she asked him, "What's something you've been thinking about a lot lately?" The conversation that followed was deep and meaningful, and he later said it was the most interesting conversation he'd had in months. Men notice this mature curiosity because it's so rare. Most people are either trying to impress or assess whether someone meets their checklist of requirements. But older women have learned that real connection comes from understanding someone's inner world, their thoughts, dreams, fears, and what makes them tick. This kind of genuine interest makes men feel truly seen. They're not used to someone being curious about their emotional landscape or their deeper thoughts. When an older woman shows this kind of authentic interest, it creates a level of intimacy that goes far beyond physical attraction. Point 9. The quiet confidence of not needing constant validation. Men are absolutely drawn to older women who don't need constant reassurance or validation. This isn't about being cold or distant, it's about having an inner security that doesn't require external approval to feel good about yourself. I saw this in action with my colleague Sandra, who's 39. At a company party, she was having a great time, engaging with people, being herself. But I noticed she wasn't constantly checking how she looked, asking if her outfit was okay, or fishing for compliments like some of the younger women there. She was just present and enjoying herself. The men at that party gravitated toward her because her energy was so secure and grounded. She wasn't performing for anyone or seeking validation. She was just being authentically herself. Men find this incredibly attractive because it means they can relax and be themselves too, without feeling like they need to constantly build up your ego. This confidence comes from years of learning to validate yourself instead of looking for others to do it for you. It's the peace that comes from knowing your worth isn't determined by other people's opinions. Men notice this immediately because it's such a relief to be around someone who doesn't need them to constantly prove their attractiveness or worth. Point 10. Your ability to enjoy simple pleasures without needing everything to be perfect. The final thing men instantly notice about older women is your ability to find joy in simple moments without needing everything to be Instagram perfect. You've learned that happiness comes from appreciating what is, not from waiting for everything to be ideal. I love the story my friend Michelle told me. She's 36, and she was on a date where it started raining during their outdoor picnic. Instead of being upset that their plans were ruined, she started laughing and suggested they eat their sandwiches in the car. They ended up having the best conversation, listening to the rain on the roof and sharing stories. The guy later said it was one of his favorite dates ever because she turned a potential disaster into something beautiful. Men notice this adaptability and appreciation for simple pleasures because it promises a life with less stress and more joy. They can see that you're someone who will find happiness in the journey, not just the destination. You're not waiting for everything to be perfect before you allow yourself to be happy. This is so attractive to men because it means being with you will be enjoyable and peaceful. They won't feel pressure to create perfect moments or expensive experiences for you to be happy. You can find magic in a Tuesday night dinner at home or a walk around the neighborhood. Ladies, I hope this has opened your eyes to just how much you have to offer. Every single thing we've talked about today, your resilience, your presence, your confidence, your emotional intelligence, your life experience, your independence, your boundaries, your curiosity, your self-assurance, and your ability to find joy, these are all things that come with age and experience. They're not things you lose as you get older, they're things you gain. The woman who's worried about getting older is missing the point entirely. You're not becoming less attractive as you age, you're becoming more authentically, deeply, powerfully attractive. You're developing the kind of magnetism that doesn't depend on perfect skin or a certain dress size. You're cultivating the kind of beauty that actually grows stronger with time. The next time you look in the mirror and start focusing on what you think you've lost, I want you to remember this conversation. Remember that men are noticing your wisdom, your strength, your authenticity, and your depth. They're seeing qualities in you that you've earned through experience, and that's incredibly attractive. The most attractive thing you can do is to own your age and your experience with pride. Don't apologize for being 30, 35, 40, or beyond. Don't try to pretend you're younger than you are. Instead, celebrate the woman you've become. Embrace the confidence, wisdom, and depth that comes with your life experience. When you do this, you'll radiate the kind of authentic attractiveness that truly captivates people. If this video has helped you see yourself in a new light, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. Share one thing about your current self that you're proud of, something that's grown stronger as you've gotten older. And if you found this helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content about embracing your authentic self and understanding what really attracts people to you. Remember, your worth doesn't decrease with age, it deepens, and that's beautiful.